first thing you want to do is open up a blank browser window and go to Turnitin.com. If you don't have an account, go to Create an Account. This will walk you through creating the account, which is the same as pretty much any other website. Once you've signed in, you'll get the option to enroll in a class. You need to know the class and section ID. Then you should see the class that you've joined, along with my name as the instructor. Once you've enrolled in the course, click on the name of the course, and you'll see upcoming assignments. We have our Essay 1 narrative, where you submit your draft for review, and the Peer Mark exercise. To submit a paper, hit the Submit button. The title you give your submission doesn't really matter, so you can title it anything you want. And then you choose a file from your computer to upload. Remember to hit the Upload button, and the file will take a moment to upload. The file will give you a preview of the file you uploaded, so you can make sure you have the correct paper. Always double check to make sure that you are turning in the document that you intend to. The document that is for the right assignment and the right draft. You don't want to accidentally turn in a rough draft instead of your final copy. If the document seems correct, hit Confirm. You will get a digital receipt, and you should also receive a letter to your email address saying that your file was successfully uploaded. Once that is done, you can go to your assignment list, and you'll get a choice. You can resubmit your paper here, and go through the process again. Or you can view your paper and make sure it's the correct paper. Now you'll notice that there was a little bar here that says Similarity. This is the percentage of your text in your paper that matches sources in the database. Click to view the originality report. You can click here and get this version of the originality report, or you can view your essay and click at the top for originality. The originality report will highlight portions of your sentence that are similar to sources on the internet, and it will go in order of percentages, or sources in their files, or other papers that have been turned in. When you click on a source, it will tell you, here are the matches for that source. In this case, we see that what is original, or unoriginal, is part of a work cited. We don't need to worry about this because it's reasonable that many students would have the same entry in their work cited. Here we have another area that's highlighted in the body of the paper. Now this shows us two problems. The highlighted area is words that appear exactly in another source. When we look at this, we can tell there are two problems. First of all, the exact wording of a source is used here, but there are no quotation marks. We know that if we use the exact same words that a source uses, we need to use quotation marks to give that source credit for those words. The second thing we notice is that there are no citations at the end of these sentences. Every time we use material from a source, we need to be clear about which source it's from. Now, a few sentences down, we do have a citation. So we may believe that this simply indicates that everything above the citation came from the same source. However, that is not sufficiently clear. And for that matter, if it is true, we've got much too much source material and not enough of our own words. There are two things we need to do to fix this. First, we need to add citations at the end of every sentence. Since we're looking at a website, we could use the author's name in the sentence or at the end of the sentence. We could put Heenahan in parentheses at the end of these two sentences, or we could add Heenahan to the sentence in an attributive tag. Heenahan says they are located, and Heenahan indicates that the 4 Galilean moons are. So we're giving the author credit. We also need to make sure that we put quotation marks around any words that are the same as the source. If we don't want to use so many quotations, we need to change the words more significantly. Instead of having a few words here and there, we need to change the sentence structure and the words of the original significantly so that we'll be able to consider the wording our own, even though we have to give the source credit for the idea. Another situation that sometimes happens in our originalities report is this here. You see, student 1 is highlighted. Well, obviously, this is not plagiarized. Anyone could have your last name, especially if it's a more common last name. So if your last name is Jones or Smith, you'll probably see this highlighted. Oh, look, someone else wrote Smith 1 in their paper. This is also something you don't need to worry about. This is why you need to check your originality report, so you can see what parts of the essay you don't need to worry about. For example, here, where we have the title of an article that is highlighted, which obviously everyone who refers to that article will have to use the exact same wording because they'll include the title of the article, or a place where we have used text that is too similar to the original. It's always a good idea to upload your paper ahead of time so that you'll have time to see any errors that the originality report brings up and fix them. You can always fix your paper, edit it, and upload it again. Notice, however, that a new originality report will take time to be generated. This message says you will get an originality report 24 hours after submission is made. If you upload the paper once and you fix all the errors you see, then you shouldn't have to worry about the second report. It should reflect your editing and not contain the errors that your original had. Once a peer review assignment has started, you will be able to start it after you've submitted the associated essay. You won't be able to write a review until you've submitted an essay. Click on Write Reviews, and then click on Start Review. This will load a page that will bring up a random student's paper. While this is the sample paper we've used, that's only because I uploaded it as a different student as well. You will see a different student's paper. When you submit a draft for a peer review assignment, you are welcome to leave off your name. Therefore, the person reviewing your essay will not know whose it is. When you review the essay, you'll see a series of questions along the right, asking you to answer these questions over the essay. I recommend reading the entire essay through first, and then going back and answering the questions. As you'll note, once you've answered a question, the bar at the top of the page will begin to fill in. See how after I've hit saved, having filled in text into the boxes, now it says it's 20% completed because there are 10 questions. You should answer all 10 questions to the best of your ability and answer them fully. If you would like, you can also make marks on the text. By clicking, a comment bubble will appear. Your peer will be able to view these comments when he or she views the paper. When you're done, hit submit. If you have unanswered questions, please go back and finish answering them, but I'm going to submit anyway for the purposes of demonstration. Now you can return to your assignment in View. If you submitted incomplete review, you can go back and complete it until the date of the assignment. Go to Write Reviews, and the name of the essay you reviewed should be here. It will give you a pop-up menu saying that you can submit the review until the due date of the assignment. It will reload the essay and give you a chance to go in and answer more questions. This may be useful if you have a little bit of time to work on a peer review, but you can't finish it until later. Once the post date for the PeerMark assignment has passed, you'll be able to view feedback for your paper. You'll no longer be able to write a review, but you'll be able to read a review. In this case, an instructor review is available. The options when you click on this dialog window may be different because you'll be getting reviews from your peers. Notice that you'll see the percentage of the review that your peer completed, which will hopefully be 100%, and you'll see your peers' responses to each of the questions here on the right, along with the questions to remind you. You'll also see your peers' comments on the essay. You can hover over the conversation buttons to see what comments your peer made on your essay. After the post date for an assignment has passed, you'll be able to view your grades and comments submitted by your instructor. Normally, I will not be grading a draft for peer review. However, I've graded this one as purposes of demonstration. Click on the View button to pop up your essay in a new window. You can view your originality report by highlighting Originality Report. You can view your PeerMark results by highlighting PeerMark here. Notice here we have a list of all reviews, and we can hit Comments to see comments, and we can hit the button with the question mark on it to see the questions. If you instead want to highlight Grade Mark, you'll see the comments from your instructor. Here you see something that your instructor has highlighted in yellow and given a comment button for. If you hover over, you can see more information on the comment. Normally, I mark things in yellow that are mechanical or grammatical in nature, and I mark things in pink if they're related to source use. In this case, this segment has been marked, and the instructor has said it is an insufficient paraphrase. The words have not been changed from the original. You may also see some items that are in purple. These purple comments are generated automatically by Turnitin.com. I try to delete the ones that are not pertinent because the computer is not perfect, but I leave the ones that do make sense, so pay attention to the purple comments as well. In addition to marks on the paper, you can see comments from your instructor here on the right side. If you click on the little conversation bubble, you will see a text comment if your instructor leaves a comment for the entire essay. If you click on the stacked bars, you'll see a list of all the in-paper comments. So, notice how, if we expand this box, we see the two comments on page 1. There's a comment for an improper citation and for an insufficient paraphrase. If you click on the stacked blocks, you'll see the rubric or grading scheme by which your instructor has graded your assignment. Notice in this case, there is several categories, a percentage of weight for each category, and a description of each category. Here the instructor has marked how many points you received from each category. 3 out of 5 for the first one, 4 out of 5 for the second, 2 out of 5 for the third, etc. The average is 3.6 out of 5, or 72%, and you can see your grade here in the top right corner. Notice there's an option at the bottom of the rubric window to view the rubric in a full-size window. This rubric is used for demonstration purposes. You will have a different rubric for your essay. In this case, we can see a grid. Here's the category on the left. Here is a description of each level of that category across the row, and the area in which this essay is scored is highlighted. That way you can read specific remarks for your paper. In this case, you would know your instructor believes that the text introduces a claim that is arguable and takes a position. The text has a structure and organization that is aligned with the claim, leaving you in the middle proficient category for this rubric. Rubrics for each assignment may be different, but they will all adhere to the basic rubric that appears on your syllabus, with descriptions for each grade category. Now you're ready to use Turnitin.com to review your essays. You can submit your essays, complete a peer review assignment, and view your peer's review of your essay as well as your instructor's comments. Please also remember that if you have problems with Turnitin.com, you should email your essay to your instructor as soon as possible. That way, your completed essay can be verified, and you can work on submitting the essay to Turnitin.com later without receiving a late penalty on your paper.